Hello, I am here to talk to you about addiction. A lot of you don't believe in it. A lot of you say it's not a disease. You chose to be that way. In some cases, yes, it started out as a choice. You chose to sniff that line of coke. You chose to smoke that meth. But it's not the case in all instances. But nonetheless, it is a disease. It's not in the same category as, say, cancer or Parkinson's disease, but yes, it is still a disease. It is a disease. It's the disease module of addiction describes an addiction as a disease with biological, neurological, and environmental sources of origin. The traditional medical model of disease requires only that an abnormal condition be present that causes discomfort, dysfunction, and distress to the individual afflicted. Addiction is a treatable chronic medical disease involving complex interactions among brain circuits, genetics, the environment, and the individual's life experiences and behaviors that become compulsive and often continue despite harmful consequences. Because changes in brain structure and function are fundamental to the development and expression of addiction. It qualifies as a brain disease expressed as compulsive behavior. It is the quintessential biobehavior disorder. The fact is that even though with some it starts out as a choice, it doesn't stay that way. It not only attacks the receptors in your brain, which can make trying to stop even asking for help impossible, but extended drug use will also damage the frontal lobe of your brain. Do you know what that part of your brain controls? I didn't think so. That part of your brain controls your irrational and rational thought process, which means you could be telling yourself, I'm not going to get high today, but you're walking to your dealers at the same time. Your brain receptors get so used to the drugs attaching itself to those brain receptors that your body and your brain are so used to the euphorias that when you no longer have those drugs in your system, your whole body feels like you are dying. And that is not an exaggeration. Your whole entire body, from your head to your toes, feels like you are dying. So you need to realize that when you say you can stop at any time, it's really not that simple. With that said, yes, in most cases you are right. It does start as a choice sometimes. But like I said, after so long, it does damage your brain in many ways. That's when it is no longer a choice. But all cases are as such. Let me tell you a little story about me. I didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to decide to get high today. I didn't just wake up one day and say, today's the day I become addicted to opiates. No one really does. I was in a horrific accident. I put my trust into my doctor, and my doctor gave me prescription pain pills. She didn't even start me out on a low dose. She immediately put me on 10 325 milligrams of oxycodone. My doctor, who I thought I could trust, kept me on those pain pills for 10 years. The doses never got lower, the milligrams never got lower. They never once tried to take me off or even tried to wean me off them. Not one time, ever. You'd be surprised how many heroin addicts started out the same way I did. So you see, when you say it's a choice, in some cases, just like me, it didn't start out as a choice. And being on opiate pain pills for 10 years made it to where taking one or two just didn't do it no more. Then you start taking 3, 4, 5 at a time just to function. And to you, that may seem like a lot, but to an addict who's in horrible pain and so dependent on them, 5 really isn't nothing. And it doesn't even take the pain anyway anymore, that your brain is screaming at you that you are in. Then you become sick because you don't have them, or when you try to quit on your own, that you will give into your war inside your head. That you have to take so many at once now to just function. That you'll steal and hurt the people who love you the most. They will make you do things you would never do sober. My doctor was prescribing me 120 Roxy 30s every 20 days. And what those are is a small little blue pill, and it's straight 30 milligrams of oxycodone. I would have to take 6 at once. Mind you, I was sniffing them, just to not be sick when I would wake up in the morning. Then around the last 8 months or so of my active addiction, I started sniffing heroin. Never got into needles, but was sniffing it nonetheless. Because heroin was much cheaper than the pills I was paying $1 a milligram for. Roughly $300 for just 10 of them same Roxy 30s my doctor was prescribing me. I've done so many things that I'm not proud of. I've robbed my own mother time and time again, eventually totaling to roughly around $10,000 that I never would have done if I wasn't on heroin. I put my children through hell and back. I totally destroyed my life, my family, and a whole lot of friendships. Heroin took a hold of my soul and refused to let go. The first time I overdosed was in 2018. I was 6 months pregnant for my youngest son at the time. I lived in Park Drive. I was home alone with my children. My husband at the time worked out in Camden and had to stay out there on the days he had to work. And my daughter, who was 10 years old at the time, had to watch me die. Thankfully, she was brave enough to call 911. She had to watch as the Rome police officer, who was first on the scene, give me CPR until the paramedics got there, and then had to watch as they shocked me twice with a defibrillator before I was finally brought back. That is something I will never forgive myself for. The second time I overdosed was in the back seat of my cousin's car. We were both sniffing pills and heroin, and instead of calling an ambulance or even dropping me off at a hospital, she took me out of her car and put me in a snowbank, and she just left me there. I'm sure it was because she was scared. We both had drugs on us that day, but I could have died. To know somebody I was so close to could just leave me there, just threw me away like trash, like I just didn't matter. And this was someone I was so very close to, who I thought was such a close friend and family member. I'm still just so hurt by her choices that day. And let me just tell you this, when you're laying there overdosing, you know you're dying. You can truly feel your life force slipping away. It is the scariest thing you could ever imagine. I knew I was dying. And as my vision started to go black, and I could feel my breath coming to a stop, all I could see was my 10-year-old daughter's face. But thankfully, a sheriff's officer found me that day and knew I was dying from a drug overdose, and he immediately Narcaned me, immediately administered CPR, and called for medical assistance. My heart stopped 4 times that day. My husband at the time was told by the on-call doctor in the emergency room that night, the same doctor who once again for the second time had to Narcan me. She gave me a 15% chance of waking up from it. Well, I did. Without any form of brain damage or any other damaging deficits, and that's when I finally decided enough was enough, and I went to rehab. I went 6 hours away to northern Pennsylvania to Mountain Laurel Recovery Center. I couldn't quite understand why God saved me when so many of my friends was not so lucky to be given not 1, but 2 chances at life. Why me? Why did God pick me to save when I've done so much wrong and hurt so many people? I just couldn't figure it out until one day my life changed forever. Summer of 2019 was the day I finally found out why I was saved and why I'm meant to be here. At the end of September, I took my children to the New York State Fair. And when we were heading back to our truck, mind you, there was 200 people walking through this parking lot, when we came across this young man laying out. He was just laid out in the parking lot, clearly overdosed. And people were just stepping over him and just kept walking and spitting on him and saying things like, he's just another junkie, and what a waste of space, and would just keep walking. Horrible, horrible thing. People were actually spitting on this guy and just saying it was nasty. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't just leave him like that, dying. He was someone's son, brother, friend. Maybe he had kids. I don't know. But I knew for 100% I could not, nor would I just could not leave him there to die like that, regardless if he continued to use or not. I couldn't do it. If that sheriff's officer would have just left me, or if he didn't even try to help me, I wouldn't be here at all. So I yelled for my husband at the time to go get our truck and get the Narcan out of the pocket behind the driver's seat where I kept it. I hit him up both sides of his nose, and I immediately started to administer CPR. And the whole time, people are recording with their phone, telling me I'm wasting my time because he's just a drug addict and he's just going to use again. But it was in that moment, while performing CPR, I seen myself in him. I couldn't stop. I couldn't just let him die because he was a drug addict. I couldn't do it. And then after what seemed like an eternity, as soon as I seen those ambulance lights, that man took that long-awaited breath. It was in that moment that I finally knew for 100% why God saved, and not why God saved me, and not the so many others I cared so much for. I was here to help drug addicts who struggle every day, like I did, to try and stop as many drug-related deaths as possible. So that's when I decided that I was going to be a drug counselor. That's what I wanted and needed to do. I decided in that amazing moment I was going to help people overcome their fight with addiction. And that is by far the best feeling in the world. I will help bring awareness to the people who are real quick to judge. So before you go judge the addict or junkie, as you like to say, that's walking down the street, or the addict who can't stop itching because they really need that fix, maybe now you'll understand a little better and stop treating us like we're trash on the ground or scum on the bottom of your shoes. Maybe now, after learning all this, you'll finally see that addict that you judge so badly is just like you and me. Only they're losing the battles in their minds every day. Battles you could never comprehend. Your body and your mind fighting over the completely different things that they want and need. I hope you never know what it's like to be an addict. I hope that you never have to watch your loved ones struggle every day. And I pray to God you never have to bury someone you love because of addiction like I have. I hope you never become a mother to a drug addict like my mother was, sitting by the phone waiting for the phone call that your child has died from a drug overdose, afraid and alone. Or watch your grandchildren go through the same things my own children went through. My name is Katrina Parkhurst, and I am a grateful recovering addict. I have no shame in that at all. I am proud of it. I own my past. Because to you, I might be just another junkie. But to me, my family, my friends, and my children, I am a survivor. I was the one everyone said would fail, that would never make it. Everyone said that I would continue the cycle and would never change. But here I am standing tall. And to every single one of you that doubted me, a big, fat, giant screw you. I am the 1%. I made it. I broke the chains of addiction. And I did that on my own. I will walk with my head held high because I am a survivor. Only one of the very few who actually did survive their addiction. There isn't a person in this world that will ever make me feel ashamed or unworthy of the life that God has given me. Because I did that. I did the impossible. I climbed the tallest mountain. I've looked death in the face twice. And I know that I am truly blessed to just be one of the only few still here to truly make it. And now this long road I have been on for the past 2 years is finally starting to pay off. The sun is finally shining down on me, and God has his hand on my shoulder as I continue to walk down the right path in this life. 5 tiny faces changed my life forever, and I know that in recovery they say never. But I know without a shadow of a doubt there is no going backwards for me. I know for 100% there is nothing or no one in the world that could make me go back to heroin. I won't. I will not. Those 5 tiny faces are the only reason I stand so damn tall. Yes, I'm in recovery, and your words no longer can hurt me or offend me. And all your hateful words will never break me or make me fall down. I do not care about your feelings because, as you can obviously see, I am a fighter and I am a survivor. I will conquer this disease. I will use my voice to help as many addicts as I possibly can. I will stand up, and there will be absolutely no shame in me when I say my name is Katrina Parkhurst and I am a recovering addict. I am 21 months and 21 days sober today. If you are an addict and want to reach out for help to get clean and you don't know how to do that, or you have no one in your corner who believes in you, please reach out to me. I can give you my number, or you can message me on Facebook anytime, day or night. I will always be there to help you the best that I am able to. Please do not wait until it's too late. Please don't let your loved ones feel that loss of losing you. So after hearing everything I've had to say today, I hope that you can look at the addict or an addict in recovery and not see the junkie that you once saw, but as another human being who is in pain and fighting for their own lives every single day, losing their own internal battles because addiction is not easy. Getting clean is not easy. So before you go and talk all your nonsense, why not stand up and make a difference?